If your team runs cloud workloads, AI services, developer pipelines, or internet-facing infrastructure, today's security question is simple. Which patch changes your blast radius first? This is Daily Tech Hack Global for August 14, 2026. The facts in this briefing come from NBD, CISO when reachable, and linked vendor advisories. I will keep the discussion defensive, no exploit commands, no payloads, and no step-by-step attack chains. The lead item is CVE-2026-72842. NBD describes it as, Lucy App LXC contains an ACL inconsistency vulnerability that allows low-privileged authenticated Lucy users to access back-end container management routes without proper authorization checks. Attackers can exploit path traversal via /.%2e in the LXC_name parameter to escape container directories and control host-side scripts executed through LXC.hook.start host, achieving root code execution on the OpenWRT host. The recorded severity is critical with CVSS 9.9. Why it matters: runtimes and orchestration nodes sit underneath AI services, CI jobs, and production workloads, so identity and image trust can become blast radius multipliers. The second item is CVE-2026-72776. NBD summarizes it as, Agentic Seek, commit FC242C7, contains an unauthenticated remote code execution vulnerability that allows any network-adjacent attacker to execute arbitrary commands by submitting crafted queries to the unprotected post/query API endpoint bound to 0.0.0.0:7777 with wildcard CORS. Attackers can send unauthenticated HTTP requests that cause the autonomous agent to generate and execute shell commands through bash interpreter using subprocess open with shell equals t. Severity is critical with CVSS 9.8. The operational takeaway is to map this advisory to exposed systems, service credentials, and any automation that can turn a small weakness into a larger incident. Item 3 is CVE 2026-73032. Papers GPT for Zotero 0.6.1 contains a remote code execution vulnerability that allows attackers to execute arbitrary JavaScript by returning malicious code from an LLM endpoint that is passed unsanitized to window.eval, in views.ts. Attackers can exploit this through prompt injection in PDFs, MITM interception of API requests, or a malicious custom LLM endpoint to execute arbitrary code in Zotero's Chrome privileged. Severity, critical, CVSS 9.6. Defensive context, prioritized by exposure, privilege, reachable credentials, and whether automation can amplify impact. Item 4 is CVE 2026-72851. Butabase before 3.40.0 contains an unauthenticated SQL injection vulnerability in webhook-triggered automations with execute_query steps. Attackers can post attacker-controlled JSON to the webhook trigger endpoint to inject SQL payloads that execute with builder-configured database credentials, enabling data exfiltration, modification, and persistence in connected data sources like Snowflake. Severity, critical, CVSS 10.0. Defensive context, prioritized by exposure, privilege, reachable credentials, and whether automation can amplify impact. Here is the defender checklist. First, identify whether any affected product is internet-facing, reachable from CI systems, or reachable by AI agents and automation. Second, patch according to the vendor advisory, not just the headline score. Third, review service accounts, API keys, pod identities, OAuth apps, and tool credentials that could be reused if the affected system was compromised. Fourth, add monitoring around unusual admin actions, image pulls, tool calls, authentication failures, and outbound network requests. Fifth, document what was patched and what was deferred so tomorrow's team can audit the risk instead of rediscovering it. The larger lesson is that AI security is not only prompt security. It is the security of runtimes, cloud services, tool connectors, identity boundaries, and the operational process that decides what gets patched first. Patch what is exposed, reduce what is privileged, rotate what may have leaked, and make automation prove what it is allowed to touch.